Welcome to this meeting of North College Hill City Council. It is the 3rd of February. Hard to believe January is passed us by already. So we will get started as we always do by standing for our prayer and then Pledge of Allegiance. God our Father, we are all your servants. We trust in your mercy and love. We trust also in your guidance. Direct the meetings of this council of North College Hill to make good decisions for all the people who live in our city. Give all the members of this council wisdom and insight to know what is best for our city. Help us to be fair and just in all our decisions. Bless us all to do the very best we can. With your help and guidance, we pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Call this meeting to order.
I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My bad, Mr. President.
All right, again, welcome everyone. Good to see a good group out here tonight. We got a swearing-in ceremony coming up here shortly, but first, Mr. Hedger, when you're ready, please call the roll.
Ms. Orm.
Here.
Ms. Gaston.
Here.
Ms. Chichester.
Here.
Ms. Alexander.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Present.
Mr. Davis.
Here.
Ms. Underwood.
Ms. Underwood did reach out to me this afternoon and tell me that she was not going to be able to be with us this evening.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
I'd like to make a motion that we excuse Ms. Underwood from tonight's meeting.
Mr. President,
Mr. Wilson?
I'd like to second that.
Motion by Ms. Zorb, second by Mr. Wilson to excuse Ms. Underwood from tonight's meeting. Any discussion? Mr. Hedger, please call the roll.
Ms. Orm.
Yes.
Ms. Gaston.
Yes.
Ms. Chichester.
Yes.
Ms. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Thank you. All right, council, you have tonight's agenda in front of you.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Mr. President,
Ms. Gaston?
I second.
Motion this evening from Ms. Zorb, seconded by Ms. Gaston to accept the agenda as presented. Any discussion? Mr. Hedger, please call the roll.
Ms. Orm.
Yes.
Ms. Gaston. Ms.
Yes.
Chichester.
Yes.
Ms. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
All right, before we move to the next thing, I do want to mention anyone that wants to address council this evening, please sign in. Is the sign-in sheet with you, Mr. Hedger? All right. I failed to mention that. Thank you. All right, we will move into a swearing-in ceremony of a new police officer. We'll invite Chief Cheney to the lectern.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Before we do that, I want to give one quick update. We had a homicide back in 2021, July. Kamar Williams was killed in the parking lot of North Creek Apartments. Today, the grand jury of federal court found guilty the 3 individuals who were guilty of that homicide. The 2 gentlemen who were teenagers prior, or actually they weren't teenagers, they were adults, who committed the homicide were actually paid by another gentleman, and then they committed a second homicide in St. Bernard. So with our work with St. Bernard and the ATF, we were able to get federal charges on another gentleman for racketeering. He was convicted of possession of 5 kilos of cocaine, 5 grams of fentanyl, and 2 counts of murder for hire. So all 3 individuals will be spending time in federal prison. The last one, Mr. Benford, will probably spend the rest of his life in prison. So the other 2 gentlemen took plea deals, and cooperated with us and testified against the gentleman. So it's a good day for us and the ATF and St. Bernard Police. With that, we will introduce Mr. Gary Hill and the mayor. Gary comes to us from the OSP Police Academy that I spoke about before. He just graduated in January. He's been on the road for about 3 or 4 shifts with us. He's already probably woke up and like, what did I get myself into? But we're super excited to have him. His fiance and daughter are here. The daughter closed the deal. So we were on the fence until we saw her, and then she sealed it for us. So we're super excited to have him. He's done really well already. So without further ado, I'll let the mayor swear him in.
Okay, this is our second swearing in of Officer Hill because the officers have to be sworn in before they go out. So we had a little swearing in sometime last week. So if you would raise your right hand again and repeat after me. The family, your fiance, do you want to take pictures? Feel free to. Come on, don't be shy. Don't be shy.
Oh, you can just, I was gonna say, if you put her down, she'll just probably.
Okay, so repeat after me.
Like getting with the stranger. That's your ex marriage, yeah.
I, Gary Hill,
I, Gary Hill,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm that I will support
or affirm that I will support
the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
the laws and constitutions of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio,
and laws and ordinances of the City of North College Hill,
and laws and ordinances of the City of North College Hill,
to which I am appointed,
to which I am appointed,
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
will discharge the duties of police officer.
will discharge the duties of police officer.
Congratulations again. There you are. Thank you. Would you like to say something?
First off, I'd like to thank my family, my fiance Allie, my daughter, for their continued support through everything. Training wasn't easy being away, but they pushed me through. To the department for giving me this opportunity, and to the City of North College Hill itself for allowing me to protect and serve the great people of this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome, Police Officer Hill. Glad to have you on the team. All right. We will then move on to the minutes from the January 21st meeting.
Mr. President,
Yep.
Ms. Chichester?
make a motion to accept the
I
minutes.
think Wilson. Yep, Wilson.
Agenda?
No, Gaston.
Mr. President,
Ms. Alexander?
I second that.
Motion for Ms. Chichester to accept tonight's to accept the minutes from the 1/21/25 meeting, seconded by Ms. Alexander. Any discussion? Mr. Hedger, please call the roll.
Ms. Zorn,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Chichester,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Thank you. Next is communication. Mr. Hedger, do you have any communication this evening?
No, I do not, Mr. President.
Okay, then we'll move on to council committees, starting with City Community Development and Recreation.
Mr. President,
Mr. Wilson.
City Community Development and Recreation met on January the 27th at 6 p.m. We had a conversation about the fireworks show for about 30 minutes. We were just discussing some of the suggestions or the information that we received about the fireworks. We also discussed I get that. I just want to make sure before I I don't skip anything important out of this thing. So we had further discussion about the moving in apart. We reviewed a couple of slides that I had as far as what the vineyard could look like. We discussed the drones also. We also had a conversation about the suggestions came up about adding fireworks to the Juneteenth program. So we had just a couple of suggestions and comments that came from the audience and also the committee. We have not, I'm sorry, I apologize. I don't see. Give me a second, Mr. President.
It ended at 8 o'clock, because remember, I was gonna leave at 7:30.
So that our meeting concluded at 8. We haven't. Our next committee meeting is February the 10th at 7 p.m.
Thank you. Next is Budget and Finance.
Mr. President,
Ms. Chichester.
we have not met since our January meeting. Our next meeting for Budget and Finance Committee will be next Monday, February the 10th. What time? What time? 7, I believe. 30.
7:30.
7:30. It's like, wait, I'm here all day, so I just literally just be there at the start.
All right, next is Rules and Public Policy. Ms. Underwood is not here. Does the Vice Chair have a report?
I do. Thank you, Mr. President. At the January 13th meeting, it was discussed to change our committee schedule back to the 1-hour meetings. There was a lot of back and forth, and so it was finally decided that we're going to leave it at the 30 minutes for now, and then evaluate in a couple, reevaluate again in another couple months. We talked about recommendations for the Planning Commission, and we talked about the Charter Commission, and I believe we still need to appoint some additional people to that committee, but I don't have confirmation from Ms. Underwood on that. In new business, we talked about moving around, reconfiguring this room so that council members can see the TV better. And so I did, I'll address that later, because I did handle that, sorry. I'm mixing up my meetings. And then we adjourned at 6:30.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then Public Safety.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry. There was one more thing that I forgot that I need to add. Can I chime in real quick while we're still
Please
there?
go ahead.
So I wanted to let Mr. Hedger know that we did talk about the digital warehouse. And Ms. Underwood had an action item to follow up with the law director to get legislation written. I apologize for not saying that the first time around.
No worries. Thank you. All right, Mr. Davis, Public Safety.
I apologize. I'm just making sure we have not had a meeting since our last council, or have we? No, I don't think so. Yes, and our next public safety meeting is February 10th, 2025.
Is Rules and Public Policy at 6 and Public Safety is at 6:30?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to ad hoc reports. Does anyone have an ad hoc report to give this evening?
Thank you, Mr. President. I do.
Ms. Orb?
So I went to an ICRC board meeting, and at that point I did speak to a couple of their members to try to brainstorm to see what we could do with rearranging this, our seating arrangements. The criteria was for people to be able to see the screen and for the members sitting at tables to not have their back to the door. Those were the only two criteria that I was aware of. So I have not heard back from them yet, so we'll wait and see.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Any other ad hoc reports this evening? Hearing none, we'll move to the administrative reports. Good evening, Madam Mayor. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. First off, I would like to congratulate and welcome Officer Hill to our family here, our police family. I had a chance to talk to him the other day, and they threw him right in with some incidents that were going on in the city, so he had some really on-the-job training. I believe that was last Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. So we welcome him. Additionally, I would like to send out my heartfelt condolences to the families and the loved ones of the two plane crashes in D.C., the one in D.C. and the one in Philadelphia. Would ask, as I know you all are, we just would keep them in our prayers because I'm sure this is a very difficult time for them and the airlines as well. February 1st kicked off Black History Month. Just want to tell everybody to look into some of the achievements of Black African Americans to see, it's a lot more out there that you can research and look into. The final thing that I had, we've gotten some requests from some council members that go directly to the actual department heads. We would ask that any requests that you have, that you filter them through the city administrator first so that they can collaborate together to make sure that everything that you need is going to be delivered to you. So before you send an email or send something to them to contact them, if you would send it to the city administrator first. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for the mayor?
Mr. President.
Ms. Chichester?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I thought it was part of the charter for us to address not address department heads, but address you or the city administrator first.
It's a part in the charter that I believe is 6.04 where
Gotcha.
it doesn't,
Understood.
it doesn't necessarily say you cannot, but it asks that you seek out the city administrator. And I could be wrong, but it may be pertaining to disciplinary things. So, but it is a blurb in there that talks about before you go to a department head, you shouldn't go to the city administrator subordinates. You should go directly to the city administrator.
That's what I thought.
And I believe that's under section 6.04, if I'm not mistaken.
If I might add, it's just courtesy to follow chain of command.
Absolutely.
So it's not like a written rule for,
We have had some instances here lately where they have gone directly to the department head, omitting the city administrator.
All right.
Mr. President,
Oh, Ms. Orb?
so I'm quite certain that this is a roundabout conversation about me because I sent an email. So,
It's not, you're not the only one.
not the
Okay.
only one.
all right. One other thing I wanted to ask, Madam Mayor, I noticed there's some construction outside. Can you fill us in on what's going on?
That is the roof. Oh, I'm sorry, that is the roof repair,
Yeah,
right out front.
Yes. So did we get bids for that? I don't remember council seeing any of that.
You would, I believe that was in the legislation that you passed, but I do not recall that you got any bids, but that's a question that you probably should ask the city administrator as they handle the bids.
Would you like me to answer, Ms. Orb, or you want me to wait till my report?
I would like an answer. I don't really care when it is.
Okay. So the construction that you see outside there is for the repair of the roof. It was under the threshold. However, it was in the piece of legislation where we encumbered the funds. And Ms. Clear is the one who took care of securing those bids. That was before I came in, and we chose the lowest of those three.
Do you happen to know that amount?
It is $53,000, I believe, but I can email you.
Do you happen to know the name of the company? I looked for a name on the trailer. I
Deerfield.
didn't see one.
Deerfield Roofing.
I'm sorry, Deerfield?
Deerfield, or Deer Park Roofing, sorry.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to the city administrator's report.
Okay, I would like to offer condolences for Miss Underwood and the families of the plane crash. Both of them are sad events, and I just want to be mindful of how those families are feeling. If you pray for their families. And then congratulations to Officer Hill. The baby definitely did it for me. She's a cutie pie. On behalf of Ms. Clear, I would like to let you all know that we have the North Hills Youth Baseball and Say Soccer League signups in the back. They are not a part of NCH, but they have extended our participation this year to sign up in either of those, baseball or soccer. And I don't know if you guys remember last year, we were in quite the debacle at turns trying to get the Hinkle for 2023 complete. We have the 2024 Hinkle complete. We're just waiting on the final say that we can turn it in, so it will be turned in on time. It's not due till March. We've got it complete now. And then we had a successful transfer of the payroll system. There were some bumps in the road, as there will be with any software. We came from Paycor to a new payroll software system, but we seem to be running fluidly. And then we are also able to upload the 2025 budget to our finance authorities. That is our new software for when we switched over. We switched over in about November. So we were able to get that uploaded successfully as well. And then I wanted to remind everybody, and especially those citizens that are watching that live on Oak Knoll, we have the construction, and it's going to start with the water main on Oak Knoll. JMA will start their construction. We're going to put a flash on the website 72 hours before, follow the rubric that we normally would in terms of notifying the citizens. There are going to be some things as we endeavor the process beginning in February to make sure that citizens keep their cars off the road. Other things, we'll keep them updated via the website, news flashes, and Facebook. And then there are 3 steps to getting the fire levy on the ballot for November. Our deadline is August the 6th. We're ahead of it. We have 3 pieces of legislation that you as council members will see. And I'm working on our first one now so that we can get it done and uploaded by August the 6th. That is it.
Thank you, Ms. Dukestein. Any questions for the city administrator?
Mr. President.
Mr. Wilson.
Ms. Dukestein, so I'm not for sure. I believe you probably was on council, but there was a sign purchased by North College Hill. Where is it?
It's the digital public works sign.
Yes. Where is it at?
It's Mayor Nichols said it's in Public Works.
At Public Works. What do we have any plans for it other than being in Public Works?
I'm gonna let Mayor answer that because I haven't followed up on that.
Mr. President.
All right, thank you.
Madam Mayor.
We've tried to find somewhere since we relocated to this building to put it. The property around us is owned by Frickers. So we would have to get permission from them in order to put the sign out. You're referring to the digital sign?
Yes, ma'am.
Even the property where the sign out front, right on Goodman, that's not owned by this building, by the city.
Was that the initial place it was supposed to go?
No, it initially was going to go at 1500.
So, Mr. President.
So then there was the issue of, I believe the electricity was run there. So
So why is
just
it?
a matter since we moved, we thought it would be better fit here, but that didn't work out as well. But, I mean, we can put it there, but, you know, the buildings,
Yeah, well, we're working on it, but it would be probably beneficial to us. I mean, because that way we can get up some of the information we're trying to get out. I mean, people ride past that center all the time. I'm pretty sure they'll see a digital sign telling
they
them
do,
something.
but then that just depends. You have a sign if council decides to tear down the building,
Yes, ma'am.
then you just have a sign sitting there.
Mr. President?
Ms. Orr.
So, two things. I know when the tree commission was trying to put lights on the Christmas tree over there, we were told by Public Works that the electricity is not out there yet. So we did not put the lights out
I
there.
think they ran something underground, but it's nothing above ground where you could connect it to. I remember them.
Yeah, I'm not sure. All I
because-
know is that I was told there was nothing there for us to use. The second thing, I do know that the Planning Commission has talked extensively about trying to find business partners in the city that are on a more visible path to find out where that sign could be installed. So I know the Planning Commission is looking into that too.
They have looked into it, but as of yet, they haven't found anyone to partner with.
Mr. President,
Ms. Alexander.
so Madam Mayor, are you saying that Frickers said no?
I'm not sure.
Or has it not just been followed up on?
This was when one of the previous administrators were here, and from the feedback that I got, it wasn't anything that we could do. Now, we can look into it further to see
Maybe we can
if we
revisit
can.
it.
Yes. Ms.
Mr.
I have it
President.
written down to follow up.
Okay.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes, just another question, a real quick question. So when it comes to this sign, you know, you guys said that y'all, you know, some individuals took a look at it being out front here. With that statement being stated, so it sounds like folks had an idea that we're going to stay here in this building. Is that the outcome we were looking at, or?
Are you asking a question?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just saying. I apologize, Madam Mayor. So that comment that you had stated, as far as folks, you know, previous administrators,
So
you know, were looking.
even if that was not the intention, if you have the sign here, you can use it for the senior services as well.
Okay.
So it wouldn't
Okay,
be
that's
just a
what
sign that we would put out there then leave.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
you have to also consider, if you put that sign at 1500, those signs operate off of communication, right? And so if you have your main hub here in this building and it's down there, it's the possibility that it may not connect. Because most of the signs, it's a certain footage, an area where you have to be able to contact that sign. So I'm not sure if you put that sign at 1500 and the main hub is here, if you'll get the connection. Otherwise, someone would have to always, if that building is torn down, how would you connect? So if it was still there, then you would have to be able to have some type of, something set up inside of that building in order to connect to it. So then you would have, if it's still in the same condition, I'm not comfortable sending that employee there just to change the sign. Now, it's always a possibility they can tap into it from a laptop, from a car, but
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right, we'll move on to the law director's report. Mr. Dieters.
President, I have no report this evening. I'll be happy to answer any questions
All right, and the finance director's report, and she is not with us this evening, so we'll move to call of members, starting with Ms. Zorb.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing further at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Gaston?
Well, I wanted to first welcome Police Officer Hill. Thank you for coming to our city and protecting our citizens. I also wanted to address our neighbors. Good evening, everyone. I want to encourage everyone to come to our city council meetings where you are allotted a certain amount of time to express concerns, ideas, and grievances. I vow to be polite, open-minded, and open-hearted to all of the concerns of North College Hill. It is my hope that all of council will extend the same courtesy, as I know we will. If your schedule does not allow for you to join in person, please reach out to our email at askcouncil. In order to collaborate with citizens, administration, and council, we must respect one another. I'm not saying that we need to like each other, but respect goes a long way, and things will get done if we can respect each other and speak to each other kindly. Transparency is not going to come from Facebook, guys. If you have questions, come and ask.
Absolutely.
We are all taxpayers, and we all want the same thing for North College Hill. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Gaston. Ms. Chichester?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to also welcome Officer Hill, and thank you for joining our community. Can you guys hear me? I second Ms. Gaston's statement. Let's all come with positivity, love. This country is grieving enough right now with the fires and the plane crash and just day-to-day life. So let's just all show each other some love, some respect, and some grace. And we can all, absolutely, honesty is key to everything. So, and if you can't attend the meetings, if you're not able to, we understand work commitment, life commitments. They're on YouTube, ICRC, North College Hill. You could Google it. They're on our website. You could stay up to date. You don't have to always be physically present. And like Ms. Gaston stated, you can reach out to any council member independently, or you can go directly to Ask Council and reach out to us via email. We're all open and willing to address any city issues that you may have or anything within our scope and our range. And like she said, things are not going to be solved on social media, and if you investigate, sometimes the people commenting are not even our current residents or really not have the best interest. So just follow up, watch the meetings online for yourself, make your own judgments, ask your questions, and then we all can work together. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Chichester. Ms. Alexander?
I'd like to extend my condolences to Ms. Underwood and her family, the families of the people who didn't make it or were injured on the airline flights. I would also like to welcome Police Officer Hill. I would like to thank the police department and EMS and fire departments that arrived for a medical emergency on my street. My neighbor across the street had fallen and she lived alone. And I saw the lights out and I immediately ran out there, and we were trying to get a hold of her loved ones, knocking on doors of neighbors, but we all came together as a street and as a family, and everything worked out right. And I just want to thank their prompt and courteous service that they exuded on Saturday. I like to concur what Ms. Gaston said. We all are taxpayers. You know, yes, you all pay our salaries, but I pay my salary too. My husband pays my salary too. My daughter pays my salary too. It's not a big salary. But we are all North College Hill residents, so anything that we vote on also affects us.
Yes.
So it would not behoove us to mismanage or hide things because it would affect us as well. It's so disheartening sometimes to read some of the things on Facebook. It makes it hard when you know that you're doing your best. We try to work together cohesively as a group, but fingers get pointed. And it takes us all. And it's really disheartening because you know you have a love for your city and you have a love for the people. When you come with problems, let's come with solutions as well. Not just, hey, let's just wipe out everybody. Because you don't know what you're going to get when you start over new at that point either. So let's come with solutions, work together. You know, everything is not going to always go the way you want it. We have some people who want to tear down the city center. Some people want to keep it up. Somebody is not going to be happy. Things take time. We just heard our police chief talk about a murder that happened in 2021, and this is 2025, and they're just getting resolution to that. So things do take time. And we're not always privy to everything. We're not. And that doesn't mean that we're trying to hide anything. We don't know. I'm not an investigator. I don't play one on TV. You know, things take time. And we always just have to trust that people are doing the best they can with the skills that they have and in proper order. And I just I want to be able to come to council meetings, committee meetings, and make a difference and not try to put out fires of finger pointing and, you know, mental health. I tell you, sometimes I want to turn off Facebook because of mental health. It doesn't do well by the people.
I do.
So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alexander. Mr. Wilson.
First of all, I want to send out my thoughts and prayers, heartfelt condolences to Miss Underwood and her mom. Also, the victims of the plane crash in Philadelphia, and believe that was DC. Yeah, that's correct. As far as I'm gonna start with this. Thank you to everybody, from Mayor Nichols to Ms. Dukestein to Mr. Dieters to Mr. Hedger to Mary Jo to Ms. Gaskins to Mr. Davis to Ms. Alexander to Ms. Tychester. I want to say thank you to Mr. Graver. Also, I want to say thank you to every individual that comes out to the city council meetings and show up and participate. All those who's watching at home and try to find out, just to keep up with the city. Facebook is what it is. It's Facebook, and that's where it stays at. We can always have conversations in these platforms that's never going to make anybody happy, because that's just what the platform is for. It's to have conversations that we can't normally have in today's world. But it is not reality. Facebook is not the reality of how things work. All of us, I've been on this cruise since June of 2024, and I've yet to see anyone really turn a cheek to the concerns of North College Hill. I am proud to be a part of this group, and I'm proud to have the individuals that I have met in my circle, and I truly, truly appreciate just the time y'all give to North College Hill. You guys can not do it. Y'all cannot be here, but y'all actually are. And I want to say thank you to every person. That's all I got to say, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
first of all, good thoughts and positive energy to Miss Underwood and at the time of their loss. We can tell the strength of the roots by the fruit that it bore. So as we mourn, we thank her for her presence. May her memory be a blessing. And also on another note, I'd like to salute North College Hill resident Mr. Rico Rubin. Mr. Rico Rubin is the leading rebounder for the North College Hill Trojans this year. What you got to understand, what does a rebounder do? A rebounder buys into the team concept, and a rebounder believes in giving the team a second chance. You buy into the team concept, and you give the team a second chance to score again. Mm-hmm. In that spirit, Motion NCH, February 13th, 2025, 6 p.m. here at the Senior Center. And also one last thing, I spoke quicker than I planned to. Miss Allie Elder, we're currently working on your note. I've got a meeting with them. I'll follow up with you directly. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Ms. Zorb?
Mr. Davis, I heard you mention the motion thing, and you said it very fast, and I didn't catch those.
Okay, my bad. February 13th, 2025, 6 p.m. I'm pretty sure that's a Thursday.
Mm-hmm. So I have a follow-up question.
Yes,
Have you guys ever considered Thursdays are really bad for me. Have you ever considered like rotating days? Not that I'm the most important person in the room, but they're always on Thursdays and I can't make Thursdays. So maybe there's other people that can't make Thursdays.
Right. We'll think about it going forward. So the way that it was thought, where Mondays, that's y'all. And Tuesdays, I want to say it was the Planning Commissioner CIAC. Planning Commissioner CIC had something. So as a result, we went to Wednesdays because we were originally paired with a church. Wednesday at a church, that's Bible study. So you can't get a church on Wednesday. So that's why we ended up Thursday.
Gotcha.
So nobody's coming Friday. I'll be at the game. we can discuss community development at the concession stand while I'm getting popcorn. But
Here.
so that's where we're at for now. But I'm open to rotating whatever it takes to get more people to buy in. So that's just where we're at right now.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Also, Mr. President, I had a question for Mr. Davis as well.
Ms. Chichester?
You said something about a letter at the end. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. You said it really fast too.
Okay, I apologize.
No.
Miss Allie Elder, she sent a letter to she sent an email to Ask Council, and I had been currently working on her concern from before.
Is that the noise complaint?
Yes, ma'am.
I've been working on that too, so let's collab together on that.
All right, bet.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All right, thank you, Mr. Davis. That'll bring us to remarks from the audience. Mr. Hedger, has anyone signed in this evening?
Yes, Mr. President. We have Kathy Curtin.
Mr. President, I forgot to email you. I wanted to ask before I get started so that I can make sure I have the correct direction and time. Can I have 5 minutes? And if you say no, I do understand. It calls for me to email you.
Sure, you can have 5 minutes tonight.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate that.
Don't expect it every time.
Yes, sir. No problem. So I love everyone was feeling the kumbaya moment this evening, but I really hope that you all keep that same energy throughout the whole year. Miss Alexander, you're one of the sweetest people in the room. You may not intentionally do something, but it doesn't mean that applies to everyone in your circle. So I just want you to consider that your heart may be open to do the right things the right way at the right time with the right people on accord according to your oath, but that does not mean everybody else, no matter of title, no matter wherever you stand, resident or wherever, it doesn't mean that applies to everyone. So thank you for your pureness of your heart. Thank you all for your beautiful words that led off with Ms. Gaston. But I hope that whole kumbaya moment really echoes out beyond just this room. And Facebook is just not a moment just to talk. It's actually a moment to socialize with people who you may not even know, people who you actually serve. So don't belittle it. The two gentlemen right here are super active in the Facebook group. You should say hi to Tony Poe and Jay Bishop. Do you know them? If not, get to know the people that you serve. I really implore you to do so. So let me get started. A few questions this evening, and I will start with you, Ms. Dukestein, good evening. Can you tell me, actually I'll start with the mayor. Can you tell me and clarify, do all city employees report to you, or do they report to Ms. Dukestein? I'm actually going to ask the question because I don't want to go over my time. If you can just clarify, do all city employees report to you, or do they report to Ms. Dukestein? And if they report directly to you, why would they being council, they being whomever else, have to come to Ms. Dukestein as a chain of command if everyone reports to you? If you can answer that in just a second. Also, can you clarify for me, Ms. Dukestein, if you can name, let's see here. Oh, here we are. The name of the asbestos and mold removers for 1500 West Galbraith. I would like to know the name of the contractor, the start date estimated, and the total cost of that contract. I believe you may have it because I have in an email that you said that it was going to start February, no later than March. So if you have that anticipated start date, I would believe that you would also know the contractor's name, the start date, and that total cost. And then also, Madam Mayor, or actually City Manager, you may also confirm this as well. Ms. Zorb stole my question. It's perfectly fine. Can you give me an estimated date of completion for the roof here at the Senior Center? And if you can also confirm with me, Madam Mayor, if I'm going too fast, ask me to slow down and I will. Is there an interim Public Works Director? And do you have any candidates who have applied? And if you have an estimated date on that role to be fulfilled? And then another question I have for you, going back to social media, right? So it's just not social media. Actually, I network on all social platforms. And if you don't, I would encourage you to do so. Who manages the city's social pages, i.e. Facebook? I don't know if the city has any other social pages, but if you can identify who manages that, that would be super, super helpful. Let me run through, make sure I asked everything. And I believe one more question in relation to 1500 West Galbraith. Ms. Dukestein, if you can confirm the start date, the total cost, but also can you confirm who you have received bids from for that building? That would also include the names. You don't have to give the amount because they were not selected, but the ones who you did get bids from. And the very last thing that I want to go back to, Ms. Chichester, about 2 weeks ago, I can't recall the date, about a month ago actually, I sent an email. That email was sent directly to you right after the council meeting. The week went by, I didn't get an answer.
30 seconds.
Yes, sir. And then you said that you sent it over to administration. Administration said they never got it. But there was a portion that still needs to come back to you. And that portion was for there to be a town hall or some sort of dialogue so citizens, whether virtually or in person, could give feedback on what we would like to see at 1500. I never got an email response back from you. So if you can answer that tonight, and I think I am at my time. Thank you.
Absolutely. Do we want to go in order, or should
I'll
I
go
address the title?
Mr. President,
Ms. Dukestein.
I'd like to go first if you don't mind.
Sure.
So I know you posed this question at Mayor Nichols, but
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Mayor Nichols.
I just want Ms. Curitan to know some of the questions that you asked. I believe she's going to answer, but I can't answer them. But I think
asked you, I would like for you to answer them, please. No, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, if I asked you, I would like for you to answer them.
okay.
I'll take on some of the Public Works question because it falls underneath my jurisdiction,
So
and if she wants to piggyback on that.
I'll start with the first question. I'm sorry. The first question you asked was, do all employees report to me or Ms. Dukestein? The employees report to their department head, who in turn reports to Ms. Dukes-Dean. So if you're referring to our Public Works Director, our Police Chief, our Fire Chief, the Recreation Director, they all report to Ms. Dukes-Dean, who in turn reports to me. At any given time, according to our charter, the mayor can sit down with any of those employees and we can have discussions about whatever we need to discuss. So they primarily report to her, who then reports to me. I believe you asked Public Works, correct me if I'm not. So we do. We have the job posted. We do have candidates. And I believe Ms. Dukes-Dean, who is over those departments, has put an interim in there, who is Mr. Braden Reuter. And I do know that here within the next week or so, she's going to start the interview process to replace the Public Works Director, or to have someone in that position permanently, not necessarily replace whatever the best candidate is. I'm sorry, tell me another question that you asked, because I abbreviated.
I actually think that the questions that I had for you, you may have already answered. You also may be able to answer who manages the social pages for the city.
Oh, that's what it was. Ms. Clear. And the city administrator is on it as well. And so am I, but I do not. Ms. Clear does the managing of the social media pages and the city administrator.
So I'll go next. Just to clarify, Mayor Nichols is accurate when she said that Braden Reuter is our interim Public Works Director. And then we have collected the applications and we're scheduling interviews soon. This week, preferably on into next week for that role. And then the social media page, it is, as she said, Ms. Clear. She tends to post more social things, and then I'll post city business. Sometimes, depending on who's available or who has more time, we will interchange. I've posted social things, she's posted more serious things, but we kind of share in that responsibility. The estimated date of the completion of the roof, I do not know. They are, the first day out where they're actually trying to do the roof is today. They set their materials up, and but the work began today. I can have a date. I think that they needed to make sure that we didn't incur any more damage, and to assess, and I would estimate around 2 weeks. I did look at the estimate and the projection, so that's that. And then the mold asbestos removal in the 1500 Galbraith building, I did respond to your email, and I will submit that to you in writing.
Why can you not speak it if you already have it?
I don't already have it. I did tell you in the email that I would hope, I said hopefully, we will have it scheduled by February or March. I did not say concretely, and I
Start, not schedule. I'm sorry for speaking. Sorry.
Yeah, let's, hold on.
I apologize.
This is not discussion time.
Yes, sir.
Answer the questions to the best of your ability, please, and then we'll move on.
And so, I'm hoping to get it scheduled, and I will respond to you via email with the things that you requested.
Is that everything?
Nope, not me. So,
I'm sorry, that was not all of my questions, but
I'm sorry.
What was the other one? I'm
the
sorry.
question is who
It's not a discussion. If you didn't write it down, then we're going to move on. We're out of control here. It's not a discussion. You've asked your questions. They'll answer them to the best of their ability, and we'll move on. Ms. Chichester.
yes. So, in reference to your email, I did see Ms. Dukes-Dean's original response where she said that was into, where you questioned which committee it was in, and I saw her reply of stating that it was in Budget and Finance Committee. I apologize, I didn't see your reply asking me details about time frame for this. I thought your question was just which committee. I'm always conscious of not trying to reply all because that violates the sunshine law. So when I saw that she was on the email thread and answered it, I didn't want to continue a thread with the same information, repeating the same thing. So, but I can't answer you right now. We do not have a date. There's a lot of factors that need to go into hosting a town hall meeting. Date, organizing it, just not with myself, but my colleagues, the council members in here. And I figured spring would be the most accurate time frame to give time for those things that are being mitigated with, or handled with the city building, so that we would have more clear. I can't host a town hall and just take you guys' questions without having any answers available to answer, you know. So date, time, and the structure of the meeting, creating an agenda, possible locations, whether or not finding out if ICRC needs to be involved. There's a lot of factors that goes into hosting a town hall meeting. You can just say, I'm gonna throw a town hall on Saturday, I'll come, and not be able to have anything accomplished for you guys. That would be silly for me to do. So working on it, it's in progress, but like I said, I can't host it until I have some clear understanding and clear answers for the citizens, for the residents. So that's my standpoint on it. If you want to have more questions for me to clarify, reach out. I apologize. I was sick for like a month and basically trying to hang on. Ms. Dukesteins knew that, and she was helping as I was trying to recover. So,
Mr. President,
Madam Mayor.
I had just one more thing that I wanted to answer to the first question that Ms. Curitin asked. I did leave off the law director. The law director is the only employee that does not report to the city administrator. The law director reports 50% to me and 50% to council. So he covers both of us 50-50. He doesn't report directly to me, only for my matters, and he reports to them for their matters.
Thank you. Mr. Hedger, is anyone else signed in this evening?
No, Mr. President.
All right, that'll move us to legislation.
Mr. President.
Yep.
Ms. Chichester?
Yeah, that's what I was about to do. I would like to make a motion that we amend the, some of the
I think so.
legislation.
I need to read
Just
it.
want to make sure the current,
We have to read it first.
Yeah.
okay.
Mr. Dieters, we need to do the third reading and then we can work it, right? Okay. Mr. Hedger, please.
Third reading ordinance number 8, 2024, an ordinance to amend and establish salaries and staffing levels for the city employees and pursuant to the requirements of the section 3.06 of the City of North College Hill Charter and declaring an emergency.
My time now.
When you address me.
Mr. President,
Ms. Chichester?
I would like to make a motion to amend the legislation, so to make sure everything is current and correct on there. I think you guys have the most current document of the legislation. I believe there was a mistake originally that I think we addressed at the last meeting, but I have to make a legal motion to amend it to make sure that from the first reading that it was amended and that everything was corrected.
Mr. President?
I need her to finish her motion.
Oh, okay.
I thought I
Let's
did.
go ask about it.
Oh,
I need to know what the changes
Oh,
are.
okay.
Yeah, you can't
So-
just say you
That's
want
what
to
I
make
was gonna
changes.
ask, what the changes were.
sorry, I highlighted. So the first thing was the administrator salary was amended and corrected. Do I need to read the numbers out there? Because I think those were executive session numbers.
They're public record numbers at this point.
Okay. The administrator salary was 113 on the original document. Corrected should be 110. And the fire, under the fire chief, it was marked as full-time, which it should have been part-time, which is corrected. Under recreation, oh, I'm sorry, I skipped something. Under public works, that salary was 57,844.8, and it should have been the corrected amount of $66,533.37. And the recreation director salary was $22.66, but it should be corrected at $25.
That's 4 total changes.
I see a typo.
Oh, there's a typo.
The word senior under senior center.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 4 changes. Well, 5 now under senior center.
Mr. Hedger can take care of a typo.
Okay.
All right, I have a motion on the floor to amend ordinance 8, 2025 with making the 4 changes stated around the city administrator's salary, the fire chief being part-time, not full-time, the change in pay for the public works supervisor, and change in pay for recreation director.
Mr. President,
Mr. Wilson.
I would like to second.
Motion on the floor to amend ordinance 2025 with the 4 changes by Ms. Chichester, second by Mr. Wilson. Any discussion? Mr. Hedger, please call the roll.
Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Chichester,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb.
there is one additional change. I didn't want to mess all of that up. But the other thing, the original document did not have the senior center coordinator on it at all. So that whole, I don't think I heard that to be added.
Oh. Yes, it did. I'm looking at it right here.
I didn't hear it
But
in
you
your
did not
motion.
say it.
I did. I said she was originally $22.66, moved to $25.
She's talking
No,
about
she about-
The senior
addi-
center.
Senior center.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
I will take care of this. I don't need everyone trying to help me run the meeting.
Which one is she talking about?
I believe it's this last one here, correct, Ms. Zorb?
You are correct.
Senior Center Coordinator. That was an ad.
That was originally on there. This is the original document. This is the new.
I don't know. I don't know
Mr.
what the original document was at
Mr.
this
President,
point.
may I show you a
Ms. Zorb.
copy of the original? The original says draft all over it. It was not on there.
Okay. This is the one in the email that when I sent to council and said, is there any updates that need to be changed, review it, and then if not, we will move forward. All the council.
So this was the draft that was originally the first reading in December.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it sounds like we need another amendment to add the Senior Center Coordinator role.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb.
I'd like to make a motion to add a mention for the senior center. It's under the heading of senior center. It is one person for the senior center coordinator. It is a part-time position being paid $15.91 an hour.
Mr. President,
Ms. Alexander.
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion on the floor to amend ordinance 8, 2025, making one change, adding a Senior Center Coordinator part-time role. Motion by Ms. Zorb, second by Ms. Alexander. Any discussion? Mr. Hedger, please call the roll.
Ms. Zorb,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Chichester,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Mr. President, may I have my old copy back?
Sorry, yes.
Thank you.
Need to adopt.
Mr. President,
Ms. Zorb.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance 8/2024, an ordinance to amend and establish salaries and staffing levels for the city employees pursuant to the requirements of Section 3.06 of the City of North College Hill Charter and declaring an emergency as amended.
Mr.
Mr. President.
Hold on. So, yes, the top of this copy we have actually calls it Ordinance 8, 2025. It is 2024.
It is 8/2024.
It says 25.
Oh, it should be 24.
It should say 2024.
Yeah.
I thought I told him to fix that.
So we need it.
24.
I don't think, do we? Ask Bill.
She has to take back her, does yours say 24?
No,
I think this is for
the original
2025.
says 2024.
This ordinance was brought forth in 2024 as Ordinance
Yes.
8.
Yep,
It is Ordinance 8, 2024.
24.
I thought Christian and I had that discussion.
This is the one he gave me.
But it is. Mr.
So-
President,
Ms. Lord.
so I guess,
Yeah, this is
I
the
really
copy
think
from
this
the
is a
original we
question
had.
for the law director. So this is, yes, this was brought to us
I
in
had to change the
2024,
dates at the back.
but it is for the year 2025. So how does that factor in?
24.
Go off the original date when it was first entered.
24.
Which is 24.
Thank you.
So we don't need to change it.
Christian, Mr. President,
Ms. Chichester?
Christian can make that typo, or do we need to make another amendment to make that?
I don't know.
Law director?
The original,
Yeah.
the original said 20.
The original said
Yes.
24, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
Mr. President,
Ms. Lord?
I do have one more question for the law director then. Do we have to put any type of stipulation in here that this is effective for the year 2025? We do not have that currently.
I'm going fucking crazy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this has always been for the 2025 salaries.
That's correct.
Why would,
I'm just gonna fucking.
I don't need your help.
You would do as you would have when it was, you have the effective date of the ordinance, but, so, I don't know why it's not in there.
I didn't hear that. I'm
I-
sorry.
I'm-
Could you
yeah,
repeat
I
that?
did not either.
You would typically have the effective date of the ordinance listed on there, so it's not in there, I don't know why.
Mr. President,
Ms. Alexander?
would that be encompassed in section 2 when it has the 2025 date? It has 2025 listed in section 2?
Mr. President, can I make a recommendation?
Yes.
My
Please do, sir.
My recommendation would be that these amendments be put in writing and then just brought back to council to vote on at the next meeting. Because the effective date is January 1, right, for these salary changes. So we're already retroactive anyway. So what difference does it make if we're retroactive 2 more weeks and just have one document that has all your changes listed? That would be I think, the more appropriate way to go.
Are you
So-
saying to vote this one down? I'm sorry.
No, just you voted to pass it, but just table where you are right now with that additional amendment, table it, and then we'll bring one back, and then you can pass that one.
So I have a motion to adopt it. You're saying proceed with that.
Well, no, you can table where you are right now.
Table
Just
it.
table with the
Got
motion
it.
pending.
Mr. President,
Ms. Orr?
I would like to rescind my motion to adopt ordinance 8/2024. Mr. President,
Ms. Orr?
I would like to make a motion that we table until the next city council meeting, the ordinance 8/2024.
Mr. President,
Mr. Davis?
I'll second it. Looking up the date.
Yeah, 17th.
Should have done that.
Davis did that.
17th is President's Day, so it'll be the 18th.
Thank you, sir, for finishing my work.
All right, I have the motion on the floor from Ms. Zorb to table ordinance 8, 2024 until our next meeting, which will occur on Tuesday, February 18th at 7 p.m. Any other discussion?
They give it to me, yeah. I'm gonna double test that.
Mr. Hedger, please call the roll.
Ms. Orm,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Chichester,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Okay, that is all we have for legislation. Further remarks from the audience as it pertains to this legislation? All right, we'll move to old business. Hearing none, we'll move to new business.
Mr. President,
Ms. Gaston?
I have a question. I'm not sure if this falls into new business, but there was a question about a town hall, right? And so instead of doing a town hall, would it behoove us to do a survey where it goes out on Facebook and maybe in the mail where people can have a QR code? Because historically we see that people don't come out. So maybe, you know, they are active on social media. They do get their mail. Maybe that could be step one, and then have the town hall meeting.
Mr. President,
Madam Mayor?
if I can suggest, maybe we can put it in a newsletter.
That's a good idea.
Mr. President.
Ms. Chichester?
She has a hard deadline. Don't quote, I can't remember the date, but it's within a week, a week or two. So it'll have to be something really quick because I remember a February date.
Okay. I can get with you on that.
Ms. Chichester?
If we create a survey, is there a link we could put on the city website as well? So we could do it. So we could post, put it on, in the newsletter, city website, the city social media page, and then we can post out so that we can make sure all residents are connected and through the mail as well. Because there are some people who are not on social media or internet, you know, sometimes. A good old-fashioned letter or newspaper. Great.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Ms. Orb?
hearing no further new business, I'd like to make a motion we adjourn at 8:13 PM.
Mr. President,
Mr. Wilson?
I'd like to second that.
Motion to adjourn by Ms. Zorb, second by Mr. Wilson. Any discussion? Mr. Hedger, please call the roll.
Ms. Orm,
Yes.
Ms. Gaston,
Yes.
Ms. Chichester,
Yes.
Ms. Alexander,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.